Hi guys, it's time for another video, this one for Module 3, Engaging Others. I've got my notes down here, so if you see me looking down, that's what's going on. Just want to go over a couple things, make sure you have a clear understanding. First of all, recognize that this paper is informational, so it should be unbiased and it should portray both sides of the national or international issue fairly and effectively. Also, make note that you need 4 credible sources. So, when you are looking for your sources and you're doing your annotated bibliography, make sure that you're evaluating it. You can use the acronym CRAP to do that, which again stands for current, reliable, the authority of the author. So, see if they're credible and what authority they have. Are they in the field, currently working and researching in the field? What authority do they have? And also, look at the purpose and the point of view. And if you need more information about that, just go through the lecture materials. Also, when you are writing this actual paper, when you start to draft the paper, keep in mind that the thesis should be, remember, 1 sentence, no more than 2, and that it should be specific. It should include the topic and the purpose. Your purpose for this paper is not only informational, but it may have a compare and contrast or a cause and effect tone to it. Okay? What that means is that your thesis could sound like this. So let's say your topic is abortion and your purpose is to compare and contrast. Then you might say, there are both supporting and opposing views of abortion. That simple. And then within the paper, you would talk about what those supporting and opposing views are. Now, if you are going to do cause and effect, then your thesis might sound like, there are many reasons why a woman chooses abortion, and there are also several negative and positive effects of having one. There again, it's not clear where your position is on abortion, but you are going to talk about negative and positive effects, okay? And you might even talk about reasons. Well, with this particular thesis, you would talk about reasons why women choose to have abortions. Okay, so that's an example. Make sure when you're writing this paper, it's very important. A lot of students, they seem to understand, but then once they start writing, they get into their opinion and they get into picking a side. You're not picking a side yet. In the next paper, you will pick a side. I will know in your next paper whether or not you are pro-choice, pro-life, etc. But for this, it should not be clear. You are merely providing information, kind of like a news reporter or I don't know, someone who just provides information, okay? Also, this paper is to be about 3 pages. So if you're struggling to add length, here are some suggestions. First, think about adding quotes or support to each of your points. So if you gave 3 reasons why maybe a woman gives abortion and you've only provided a citation from 1 source, then go back and add an additional 1 or 2 points. Remember though, your body paragraph shouldn't be more than about 10 sentences. Okay. Another thing you can do is add additional points or claims. So let's say you do go back and add additional quotes like I just suggested. Then you could split that up. If it gets too long, you can split it up and you can have 2 paragraphs on 1 point. Or you could have a paragraph on 1 reason why and then a paragraph on another reason why. Okay, and then you can add an additional 3rd reason why if you see that you need more length. And that could be, again, whether or not you're doing compare and contrast, adding additional points of similarity or differences, or whether or not you're doing cause and effect. And then you might add additional causes and or effects. Also, for the annotated bibliography, this is to be done before you actually write the paper. Why? Because you're evaluating the sources in an annotated bibliography. You're trying to figure out, am I going to use the sources that I found in my research in my paper? I need to actually sit down and look at these sources and figure that out. Okay, so the annotated bibliography is different from the works cited page. The works cited page, just like it says, it cites the works that you actually use within the paper. So they're 2 different things. The main difference, though, is that an annotated bibliography has an annotation, which is the paragraph. And when you actually put your works cited page on the paper, you drop the annotation. Okay. Also, Make sure in that annotation that you're including information on the author or publisher. If you can't find that, that might be a red flag. And you can actually say in the paragraph that, you could not locate the author. Sometimes it's not always a red flag. Like if you get something from history.com, the publisher is A&E Network, and you could probably trust them, right? So, you can say information or give information about the author or the publisher. You could also, or what you should also do is give a summary of the source, and then also talk about how you would use the source in your upcoming paper, at least one sentence. Also use this annotation of, again, 5 to 10 sentences, basic paragraph, to talk about the credibility of the source, to evaluate it. Okay? And then also make sure it's in MLA format, not APA or some other format. Make sure you're using MLA. If you need to use Citation Machine or EasyBib or your textbook, do that so that you can make sure your sources are done correctly. And just to also keep in mind that, annotated bibliography could have like 10 sources on it. You're not going to have that. But for your actual paper, you might only use 4 of those sources. Okay, so it's not an exact copy and paste from the annotated bibliography to the works cited page, because you might find in that evaluation process that you're not going to use all those sources. So just keep that in mind when you're doing annotated bibliographies also in the future. Finally, refresh your basics by making sure you go through the lecture materials. Those are there for a reason. Go through the videos, watch the videos, rewatch the videos. If you have questions, I'm available by email, text, and phone. It's best to email me first or text me, and if you want to talk, we can set that up. All right, guys, happy writing.